Final homestand of the season for the Buckeyes, and tongue-in-cheek, we say that an old friend comes back to the Horseshoe because Wisconsin, you haven't faced them, Coach, since 2004. You always know what you're going to get with the Badgers.
Well, and the last time we faced them was right here, and we didn't get our job done, and so we were anxious to see if we could settle that score. And like as you say, we hadn't played them, new coaching staff, a lot of the same things, but I thought they came and did a lot of different things in this ball game than they had done all year.
Did it make sense to go back in time and look at their tape because you hadn't played them in so long, or did you just look at this year?
Really, we just looked at this year's. Yeah. And I don't know if some of those little wrinkles they had were from yesteryear or not, but they came, and there's no question about it. They shot every bullet they had, every trick play they could come up with, and they're a good football team.
Well, speaking of yesteryear, we're going to bring out Big Daddy, Dan Wilkinson.
Well, he was special. He was our honorary captain, spoke to our kids at pregame meal, and what a gentleman. And he's moving back here to Central Ohio this summer so his kids can go to school here.
Oh, that's a wonderful story there. They all gravitate back. And moving forward here with the Buckeyes, Brian Hartline with the grab on the first drive.
First play of the game, we had a nice comeback route, and then we come back, and they were doing in the first drive about what we'd seen them do all year long, filling up the box, playing with a single high safety. Then they were blitzing a little bit on 3rd and long, and so as we went down the field the first drive, it really was what we had faced or watched them do all year long, and then they changed quite a bit after that.
Well, you were doing what you have done 6 straight games, scoring on the opening drive to take a 7-0 lead. Now the defense is going to chase around Tyler Donovan.
Well, Vernon Golston was chasing Tyler Donovan all day long, and then they came up with a fake punt, and they had good execution because we certainly weren't fooled. We were right there on the coverage. Great throw. Marcus Freeman was just trailing them by a yard, and so they're moving down the field, but the defense did a great job of holding them to 3.
Yeah, this D certainly does not want to allow a touchdown at home because they hadn't to this point of the season defensively allowed a touchdown. They get a big stop.
Well, they play fast, they play hard, and forced them to kick a field goal, and after a big trick play like their fake punt, that's a good job holding them to 3.
Taylor Melhaff, and that is a 7-3 game right now, and the Bucs record intact of no touchdowns to that point. Todd Beckman breaking out of the pocket there, some effective runs.
He did a good job of when there was nothing there. He stepped up and went, and then we come back with our base power run game, and here's Beanie behind some great blocking on that right side, moving along, and then we got stalled a little bit, and A.J. Trapasso banged a heck of a punt, knocked them down inside the 10-yard line.
Well, important to note, we hadn't seen that in a while, a punt from him.
There's no question. We didn't punt all of last week, and that was a good one, good field position.
So back on defense, and Tyler Donovan back to pass. Vernon Golston introduces himself for the first time.
Well, Vernon had his way, I think, with that Wisconsin front, and he's a heck of a player, 4 sacks, and we kept pressure on him all day long. There's Doug Worthington coming up with the sack, and our guys fly after the football.
Nader Abdallah here just working in the middle, and finally Donovan's going to have to head straight towards him, trips him up short of the line of scrimmage, so that's another sack.
Well, our guys were coming after him all day long, but he's a tough kid. I have a lot of respect for Tyler Donovan.
Back on offense, this is a 3rd down and 3, and Brandon Sane picks up 7 for you.
Yeah, good job on the little swing screen, and we had seen that teams do that a little bit on 3rd and medium against them, and so we kind of stole that one, and here they are working on the throwback to the quarterback play, and I think that was Larry Grant that sniffed that one out, and a lot of pursuit, and we're playing good defense.
Yeah, loss of 9 on that play, and again, this time Beckman takes off. This is another huge run. It's a 7-yard pickup, but on 1st and 10, that leaves you short yardage situations.
Well, that's right, and here we are stepping up again and threw the deep one down the field, and Brian Hartline makes the catch, and now we have a chance to go down and move to 14-3, and unfortunately, we only got it to 7-3. After we complete it there to Ray Small, we're moving forward, just a few ticks left on the clock, and we get the field goal and made it 10-3, which was good to get some points.
Certainly.
But it would have felt a lot better being 14-3.
Well, 10-3 the count at that point as you go to half with the lead, and you take points wherever you can. It didn't seem like there were a lot of points left out there on the field. Wisconsin, give them credit.
Well, they played good defense. It was a fast first half.
Yeah.
It seemed like the clock went like crazy, whereas the second half felt like it took forever. But they did a good job mixing things up. They totally changed their defensive package after that first drive. We made some mistakes, got a penalty on this and that, and just didn't adjust to it as well as we could have, and wasn't really until the second half that we got comfortable with what they were doing.
45 yards on the pass to Hartline there. Really the only deep throw all day. Was that their goal, you think? We're going to take away the deep throw, because that really hurts.
Yeah, they played a lot more 2-over-1 on our wide people than we've seen all year round. And people have felt like they couldn't do that because it would hurt them in stopping the run. And I think they just decided after the first drive that, we were going to be efficient with our pass. They better stop the pass first. And second half, we got to the point where that hurt them. But there was a time there in the second quarter where they had us a little bit out of sync.
Well, this thing's falling right in line, because in the last 5 meetings with them, neither team scored more than 24 points. So you're at 10-3 right here. Points are at a premium.
Well, they really are. Anytime you can get some points, get them.
All right. We're going to get to those second half highlights a little bit later. We're back with more Buckeye Football Weekly right after this. Ohio State on top of Wisconsin 10-3 as we head towards the second half. And Coach, this Wisconsin Badger team coming in was doing a good job against the rest of the teams in and out of conference of getting their defense off the field, I should say, and forcing teams to 3-and-outs. Well,
there's no question their defense was doing a good job of that, and then once their offense got the ball back, they held the time of possession. They lead the Big Ten and are way up there in the nation in time of possession. It's because of being good on third down defense and being good with the football. And honestly, they were without P.J. Hill, which was a little bit of an impact. But I think our guys would have been pretty good against the run, regardless of who was back there. But when your main guy is not back there, you feel like you got to throw a little bit more, and then the sacks came about. Well, a huge difference also when you talk about time of possession and the number of plays that it can cost you throughout the game, and that comes into effect with game planning. The tempo, if it's run by the offense, you got a chance. Just like in our Penn State game 2 weeks ago, our offense dictated the tempo of that football game. We kept them sitting on the bench. And we were able to move the chains and do good on third down, and it gave our defense a little bit more rest, put a little more pressure on their offense, and that's huge. And Wisconsin had done that well. Yeah. Well, Coach, let's go back a little further than just a week in time. Let's go back to Bill Willis's days, 1942 in that era. Our first national championship, he was a key member, went on to be named in the College Football Hall of Fame, the Ohio State Hall of Fame, and Gene Smith there was presenting him with his Ohio State National Championship ring and choked him up, and to have his name up on our stadium is special, and I'm glad we got to talk about that. We don't have to talk about that play that just happened. Yeah, well, the guys, I guess, not so inspired by that gesture, but it certainly was a nice one, and the defense tested here early in the second half. Well, a heck of a job by their guy. Their tight end, number 9, is a special player. Their quarterback kept the thing alive, which he does so well. And, our guys just keep fighting. And we went 3-and-out after they scored that. And then they got good field position. And, again, our guys just kept coming. And here you see another sack by Vernon, good pressure by Chimney. And, we weren't going to stop fighting. And our defense just kept coming after them. And they do a good job of throwing the ball from a possession standpoint, and there again to Beckham. Beckham's one of the fine tight ends in the country. Yeah, no question about that. You got him 3rd and 16 at the 50 at midfield. That's pretty much on schedule where you need him in a long down and distance situation. But they busted a couple tackles and busted a big one there, and then find their way into the end zone for the second straight drive. Well, they ran a little pick play there and did a good job, good execution, and they're up 17-10 because they deserve to be. And so we came back, and a good conversion here on a route by Todd over to Brian Hartline, and then we come back with the reverse to Brian Hartline. Good job on cutting up inside the defensive end, got us another 9, got us rolling a little bit, and I thought this was a good answer drive by our offense. Yeah, certainly. 9 picks up 9 yards on back-to-back plays from him, and then Beckman's going to take off, tuck it for 8 more, and a first down. First down. Good step up, and we had a little boot play called, and it was covered up. He stepped up, then we start feeding the ball to Beanie, and there he goes out the back door, and as big as he is, you're still not going to catch him. Yeah, just a couple of cuts there, and he busts that outside, goes for 31 yards, and Todd Beckman on the next drive, after you tie it at 17 all,
really get the momentum back into your favor on this drive. Beckman scrambling, gets a first down there on a 3rd and 4 key, and then it goes back to Beanie again.
Well, we like to mix it up. We were in empty that play before, and then now we're back to 2 tights and 2 backs, and we'd like to be able to pound the ball a lot of different ways, and Beanie got in the end zone. Those guys up front were pushing them backwards.
Well, and he was being patient, and also they both cut back to the left for those touchdowns.
Yep, those guys pushed them off the ball. The backside blocking was good. There was good job there by our punt safe unit, stopping their other punt safe shot, and then we came with a route there. What a fantastic catch by Brian Robisky. We'd been working this play from about the 4 or the 5 yard line, and we did it from the 8, and so it was not timed quite like we like it, but he made a great catch. Then we come right back and forced the fumble, and you know, things are looking pretty good for us. Unfortunately, we had our field goal blocked, and they come back. You know they're not going to quit, but there we are, Anderson Russell breaking up the pass.
Well, it's a 31-17 game in the blink of an eye, and the defense, Thaddeus Gibson in there, and ball's on the turf again.
I think there was Dexter Larimore that came up with it after Thaddeus. And a little toss sweep play. Our guys, again, pushing them off the line of scrimmage, knocking people down. Great block at the end there by Brian Robisky. And you know, that was the clincher right there to make it 38-17.
So Robisky gets in the end zone with that catch. You practice it with the one hand?
Well, you know, we do some one-hand drills, but not particularly on that play.
The cutbacks for Beanie on those 2 touchdown runs, designed, or is he just cutting where it's open?
Yeah, they were zone plays, and he showed great patience. And, you know, we've talked all year about the fact that, you know, the more patient he becomes and the more he watches the linebackers flow, when the linebackers overflow and he cuts back, there's no one left.
Got to be happy about the gut check time in this game.
Well, when it was 17-10 and the flow was against us and just didn't seem like we could get things revved up emotionally, the offense methodically went down the field. Some good decisions by Todd Beckman, who he threw to when he stepped up. Good mixing it up. Jim Bowman and his staff did a good job between run and pass, and the good answer drive, that inspired the crowd, that inspired the defense, and took off after that. Well,
certainly going 10-0 at this point right now and 6-0 in conference play, that is of ultimate importance as you head towards these key November games. And back at the Horseshoe to wrap things up next week. We'll look forward to that one as well.
Senior Day.
Exactly. We'll look forward to having you back as well. And we're back to wrap things up after this.